Hi everyone, I'm Julie Gee, the naturalist at Burr Oak State Park. Now that summer is coming to an end and our gardens are shutting down, it's not too early to start planning for next year's garden. Whether it's a vegetable garden or a flower garden, there's nothing worse than putting your time, your energy, and your money into a garden only to have it eaten by the deer. Today, I'm going to share 4 tips with you on how to create a deer-resistant garden. Tip number 1. The only foolproof way of keeping deer out of a garden is to install a fence. This is the fence around my vegetable garden. It's 6.5 feet tall, and it is 100% effective at keeping the deer out of the garden. You might consider putting a fence up to 10 feet tall, depending on your situation. Again, the only guaranteed way to keep deer out of your garden is to install a fence. Tip number 2, use deer-resistant plants. You can see what the deer did to my hostas. Basically, hostas and lilies are deer candy, and unless you fence them, they're going to eat them. Let me show you some deer-resistant plants. Blackeyed Susan, Monarda or bee balm, and purple coneflower are all deer-resistant plants. New England aster and swamp milkweed, which has gone to seed here, are also deer-resistant plants. Butterfly weed is another deer-resistant plant, and what's great about the milkweeds is that not only are they deer-resistant, but they're the host plant for the monarch butterfly. So that's an added bonus for using that in your garden. Another deer-resistant plant is great blue lobelia. It's a great plant to attract pollinators like a variety of bee species. As a matter of fact, all of these plants that I've shown you to be deer-resistant are wonderful to have in a pollinator garden because they attract butterflies, bees, wasps, lots of insects. I want to mention that just because a plant is deer-resistant does not mean that it's deer-proof. I mentioned that Blackeyed Susans are deer-resistant, but you can see that the deer ate many Blackeyed Susans in my garden. And that takes you back to tip 1. If you're not willing to take any losses, then you have to think about a fence. Tip number 3, use a deer repellent. You can buy a commercial repellent or you can make your own homemade repellent. Most homemade recipes have some type of hot pepper, which the deer find distasteful, and eggs, which help the repellent stick to your plants. I've included a link here for some recipes for homemade deer repellent. Tip number 4, install a motion-activated sprinkler. The sprinkler is going to startle and scare the deer away. It's important that you buy a sprinkler that has an infrared sensor so that it also works at night. Keep these 4 tips in mind as you plan for next year's garden. I've included a link above to some native deer-resistant plants. Good luck and let me know how it goes. Thanks for joining me today, folks. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.